Okay, everybody, welcome. Welcome. We're going to get started. Today we're going to talk about creating raving fans, raving art collectors. So you want to make sure that you share this, tell other people about it. I'm going to fix a camera here. People on YouTube are not being able to see the top of my head. And I see here that maybe you can't see the top of my head either if you're on my personal page. So let me fix that a little bit. And hopefully, I apologize for the hack job that I've done here. But welcome to day number 72. For 72 days now, 72, it just doesn't seem possible. I mean, I thought we were going to do this for 15 days. I thought when we first went into quarantine, we were going to be like in and out, everything's going to be fine. I mean, in Tokyo, I think they did no quarantine. In China, they did 15 days quarantine. We've been in quarantine now for, I don't know, almost 78, 79, 80 days, depending on where you are. So I don't know about you, but I'm kind of sick of it. And so we just got to deal with it. And my goal here is to get you outside of that fear, right? So what happens with our brain? There's an area of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. And that is an area where when you have fear, when you have anger, you have fear, it's changing the dopamine in your system and it makes you make different kinds of decisions. The best reason that we can get our heads out of this is to avoid fear. Yeah, we are afraid. Yes, there are a lot of things going on that are just really frightening. And there's no reason that we shouldn't be afraid of it, but we've got to try and manage our fear. Everything, don't let things happen to you. Try to manage them and how you perceive them, right? So in this particular case, my goal is to get you outside of your fear, to get you thinking about other things, to keep you upbeat, uplifted, and to give you videos every day so that you can learn something new, try something new, maybe just be outside of that area of fear. And quite frankly, I am so done with social media. I am so done with people who are just pouring gas on the fire. I don't want to hear it. I am just to the point where I'm going to take a break from social media. I'll be here. I'll continue to do these things. But I'm going to go in, check my comments at night, and then I'm putting it away. I'm not going to be tolerating that negativity in my life. Last summer, as an experiment, I took a summer off of social media. As a matter of fact, I did 2 weeks. I took a 2-week vacation, and I just said, you know what? I am not checking social media. I am not checking email. I am not watching television. I'm not even watching Netflix. I am not taking in anything. And I was reading, but other than that, it was just kind of being around nature. And I'll tell you, after that 2 weeks, I felt so good about it. I took another 2 weeks, not off, but 2 weeks on no social media. And we just have to make sure that we remember that we are in control of our lives, to some extent anyway. I mean, we can't control all the stuff going on around us, but we can control how we respond, how we perceive, and try not to be fear-driven. I know it's hard. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about creating raving collectors, because if you create raving collectors, they'll come back again and again and again. Now, if you know somebody who's in the gallery business, they need to watch this. You might want to forward this to them. And of course, not all artists are interested in selling their art. And so if you're one of those people, I get that, and there's not a right or wrong. I'm not trying to force you into one thing or the other. I just want to help those of you who are trying to sell art. We're in a special time. I just did a webinar, I don't know, a few weeks ago now, on how to survive and thrive in the COVID times. Now, there's a lot of talk about what's going to happen to the economy, and you can listen to all kinds of different people and get all kinds of answers. I sent a note to a buddy of mine last night who's been giving me some investment advice, and he has been successful, and I've listened to some of it, and I said, what do you think is going to happen? He said, I have no idea. And so I think we all have to be just kind of get outside of this and understand that things are going to change. And it doesn't mean they're going to change for the worst. Every time something bad has happened to you, in most cases, you've gotten better, you've gotten stronger. There's a theory, you know, the idea of hardened blue steel. How do you take steel and make it hardened blue steel? You flood it with flames, right? You get the temperature up, you make it more resistant. And when we get more resistant, we get there by having problems, by going through life's changes, and by just saying, you know what, no matter what I'm going through, I'm going to conquer it, I'm going to get through it, right? And so our life is going to change as artists, as art galleries, as people who have small businesses. I'm a small business guy. I have a business that sells, well, first off, I'm an artist, and so I'm trying to create the kind of things that I would want as an artist, and have done that. I've got the plein air convention and the figurative art convention. I've had to postpone some of those things. I've got artist retreats that I do. I had to postpone some of those things. I have some things in the radio industry. I've had to postpone those things or reschedule them. And so, you know, that's how I make my living. And I make my living off of advertising sales in my magazines. Not a really great time for that. It's a good time to advertise, but not a good time to be in the advertising business. Now, and then I make my living off of creating art instruction videos, and I try to really raise the bar, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. But the idea here is now is the time we need to invest in ourselves and learn new things, because whatever the old way is, I hate the term the new normal. It's not, I don't like it. Anyway, I won't get into that, but the idea here is that everything will change. There's no doubt everything will change. The way we buy art, the way we sell art, everything will change. It's not going to be the same. I've got some very strong ideas on what's going to happen and how that's going to change, but there's a lot of stuff that we all can be doing now to impact our sales now. And in fact, some of the people I've been advising are selling a lot of artwork right now. So you can do this. So this is, anyway, we're going to talk about this in a few minutes. And that's going to be about how to create raving fans. Now, if you happen to be a small business person or a large business person or anybody who has a product that you're offering, what I'm going to teach you here is going to go to those points, all right? So I want to remind you of a couple of things. First off, in the month of June, we are giving away a registration to either the plein air convention or the figurative art convention. You get to choose which one you want. And the way to enter that is to go to streamlinegiveaway.com. That's my company, streamlinegiveaway.com. And you got to do it once, only once, before June 30th. Doing it multiple times isn't going to help. And that gives you a chance to choose whether you get a ticket to the plein air convention or the figurative art convention. And quite frankly, if you don't want to use it this year, you can use it next year. That's up to you. But I think, you know, we have a guarantee for these conventions for anybody who registers all of our events. If we cannot do it, if we have to shut down, if we don't feel it's safe, or if you don't feel it's safe, you can get your money back, right? We're making sure that you get that, or you can apply it to future events. Now, I'm holding a convention, a plein air convention, which is normally about, probably 800, 900,000 people. And that's going to be in Santa Fe, New Mexico in August. And it's the first time we've ever done an August convention. And the weather there at that time of year is the best. And so, you know, a lot of people are like, well, maybe it's a little, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe it's unsafe. As a matter of fact, somebody's been sending letters to our faculty members telling them they should not come, that they should bail out because us bringing people to Santa Fe is going to pollute Santa Fe. Now, of course, we have no intent of doing that. We have no intent of hurting anyone. We have no intent of hurting ourselves, our employees, or anyone else. And so we do have a contract with the hotel that we cannot get out of unless the city or the state says, you are not allowed to do this. And we have to write a really, really big check no matter what. And we are going forward because otherwise we'd be bankrupt. And quite frankly, we think it will be safe. Now, we're going to follow all the guidelines. We don't know what's going to happen in August. this is still early. Now, a lot of people are talking about second waves, and a lot of people are talking about this is over. You know, there's new research came out of Germany this week that is completely changing the face of things. So we're just going to have to wait and see. Keep an eye on it. You've got to be flexible. We have to be flexible. But rest assured, we have no intent of doing anything that hurts you or anybody else. And you have to govern yourself accordingly, right? Okay. So anyway, make sure you enter for the Streamline giveaway. Okay, make sure you go there. If you want to follow me, Eric Rhodes at Instagram, it's RHOADS, and it's Eric Rhodes Publisher, or Eric Rhodes on Facebook. Now, my personal page, I cannot follow you back because I'm at my limit, but please know I'm thinking about you. Next, we are doing these daily videos. Every single day we're giving you art instruction videos. We've doubled it. We went from doing one a day at 3 p.m. Now we're doing 2 a day, one at 3 p.m. and one at 9 p.m. Eastern time. This way, if you're in a time zone that one of the 3 p.m.s doesn't work for you, maybe the 9 p.m. will. So we're trying to help people all around the world. If you are an artist anywhere in the world, obviously in the United States, we'd appreciate this, but if you're in Canada or Mexico, or if you're last night it was Saudi Arabia, Norway, Sweden, lots of places around the world, you have other artist friends that should be aware of these videos. Somebody sent me a note, I can't remember her name, but she gave us permission to use her name, and she said her friend told her, she said, I've been watching these videos every day, and my friend told me that that I made a quantum, quote unquote, quantum leap in my artwork by watching these videos every day. This will help you. This will help you a lot. So I hope it helps. And of course, if you find something you really love and you want the whole experience, the whole video, we would love that. That's good for us, good for the artist, and of course, really good for you. Okay, so the way to find these is on YouTube or Facebook, and they are at Streamline Art Video. If you hit subscribe, you will find them there. Now, also, the entire library is going to be pulled down off of Facebook. So we've done a huge library of these, 60 or more of these so far, and maybe 70 or more. So please know, if you want the entire library, we will, for a short period of time, keep it up on YouTube, and you have to become a subscriber, because we're going to make it so that only subscribers are going to be able to see it. So you go to youtube.com, find Streamline Art Video, and hit the subscribe button, all right? So if you want to learn more about what you're trying to win, we have a conference called the Figurative Art Convention. I'm sorry, my graphics are pretty squiggly, I apologize. Figurativeartconvention.com or pleinairconvention.com, and you can learn about those. And I wanted to tell you one other thing. I sent something out yesterday. If you happen to be getting my emails, then perhaps you saw this. But I have an event that I hold every year. I'm an artist. I paint outdoors, plein air. And I started a thing where I invited other artists to kind of come hang out and paint for a week. And that has kind of blossomed into this really cool thing. We call it Paint Camp. And we get together for a week, and we paint all week in the Adirondack Mountains of upstate New York, which are unbelievably beautiful. Anyway, we were postponed. We always hold it at Paul Smith College, and it's a beautiful college on a lake, but it's a college. It's college dorms and so on. And they called us, I don't know, a week or so ago, and they said, listen, we decided we're not going to open at all, and we're going to have to cancel your event. And we're like, no. And even though there are no cases up there, the state of New York has put them on phase 2. They are free now. We're going to be, by the time we have this, we're going to be at phase 3. We're going to be able to do pretty much anything. And please know that it's going to be a phenomenal event. First off, we're outdoors most of the time because we're painting outdoors together or individually if you want. We go to 2 or 3 different paint spots every day. And then, we have our meals together and we have dorms. Well, this year, because of the school canceling, something really cool happened. Now, this is the 10-year anniversary of this event. And I'm already doing special things, but something really cool happened. I was able to get us into a place called Saranac Village. Now that's not the town of Saranac Lake. Saranac Village is one of the former great camps of the Adirondacks. It was built in the early 1900s, 1904 or something. In 1904, when it was built by the copper magnate, I don't remember his name, it was, in 1904, it was $2.4 million to build it at 40,000 square feet. And it's one of the great camps. It's on one of the great lakes, which is called Saranac Lake, Upper Saranac Lake. Now, Saranac Lake, the town, is not on Saranac Lake. It's on Lake Flower. This lake is one of the most beautiful, most spectacular, layers and layers of mountains in the view. It's incredible. It's got a lot of rich history. Anyway, this great camp was converted to a kids camp many years ago, back in the 60s. It's still all original. Now they've done some things to modernize it, certain parts. They've got a lot of rooms. And so we managed to get in there, and the reason is because they normally have 500 kids in there at a time, and they have no campers this year. So we're going to be at this great camp, and we're going to be there all by ourselves, and we have these big dorm rooms, and one of you will be on one side of it, and one of you will be on the other. There's so many dorms we're able to do that for all of our people, but we have to limit it to about 100 people. Yesterday when the email went out, we're now up to about 80 people who are coming. And so there's not going to be many left, but if you want to come, if you want to join us, and remember, we have a guarantee. If we can't have it, you get your money back, or you can apply it to something else. It's called Publishers Invitational, and it's publishersinvitational.com. It's in the Adirondacks, but that's not in the website, publishersinvitational.com. That also tells you about my other retreats. I've got one coming up in the fall. It's called Fall Color Week, and I've got one coming up next September, a year from now in September, and that is going to be in Russia. Okay, so today, get the business out of the way. We have, I'm giving away my book. First week on the charts, it was an Amazon bestseller because every artist in the world needs this. And the reason they need it is it's all the basic principles that you need in order to be able to market your art. So this goes to Laurel McBride in Canada. One for Laurel McBride in Canada, thumbs up for Laurel, and to Christy Kirby in North Carolina. So congratulations to Laurel and Christy. And today, what I want you to do is tell me what prize. I've given away plein air aprons, I've given away videos, I've given away value specs, I've given away value palettes, I've given away tons and tons of stuff. And I don't have anything from any vendors to give away. I've got some stuff coming, but I don't have it today. But get into the comments and tell me what you think you might want, and I'll pick a couple of things from the comments today. And by the way, comments are how you win prizes, whether you're on YouTube, Instagram, or otherwise. You should be able to do comments in all those platforms. And if you can't, go to the other platform. You can do it after in the repeat. We go through every day, and we're going to pick some winners for the prizes. So give me the comments, and remind me before I end. Let's see if I can see this. Congratulations, Fine Art Connoisseur Magazine subscription. All right. Congratulations, congratulations. Yay, Lori and Christy. Okay, value specs and videos, of course, and videos. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. All right, I hope Christina's watching because I'll never remember this. Number one, I'm giving away one subscription, regular print subscription. This is a in the US, a regular print subscription to Fine Art Connoisseur Magazine. I might have one around here. I do. Okay, so regular print subscription to Fine Art Connoisseur Magazine. So there's one subscription to that. Number two, I'm going to give away, this can be anywhere in the world, I'm going to give away my value specs, which give you the opportunity to see the grayscales, the values. It reduces everything down to values so that you can really see light and shade, and it really is a good training tool if you're learning to paint. All right, so I'm going to give away 2 pair of value specs, and one of them will be international and one of them will be US. Okay, so 2 pair of value specs and one subscription to Fine Art Connoisseur. Sound like a plan? Leave a comment. All right, I want to show you this painting. Can you see it? Is that beautiful? That is so beautiful. This is a painting that was done by Paul Kratter and a video on painting trees, how to paint trees. And that video is going to be on tonight at 9 p.m. This is was a real surprise. It's become a huge video. And it goes through all these exercises in the video on how to paint trees, not just this. And he's such a nice guy and such a great teacher. And so Paul Kratter, and that is on painting trees, that's at 9 p.m. Now I don't have the other painting, but it's called Bold Brushwork and Confident Color with Lori Putnam, and that's today at 3 o'clock. So you're going to enjoy that. Both Lori Putnam and Paul Kratter, they are great teachers. You're going to love it, hands down. It's going to be worth watching. If you've not seen those, make sure that you look at those, all right? And make sure you leave comments. Now, I want to talk about this. I probably should get my marker. All right, so how do you create raving fans? So there is a concept that was created by what's his name? It's Maslow. I want to say Raymond Maslow, but I don't think that's right. This is called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the way he says is that human beings have different levels of needs. Now, I'm not going to go through all his levels, but the foundation level is food and water, right? You have to have food and water. You have to have that to succeed. And then you have things in the middle that on top of that you would prefer to have, like clothes and shoes and maybe a little better food. And then on top of that is, there's things that you want, personal satisfaction and so on. But at the foundational level, you've got to have, right, food and things. So when you're creating raving fans, there are different levels that you can use to do this. Now, what most people do, most companies, most people who create products, create magazines, create videos, create businesses, most people only do the bottom thing. And that's like, okay, I have a hotel room, it's Motel 6, it is, we'll leave the lights on for you. Well, maybe one day I'll tell you the story about my dinner with Tom Bodett. Anyway, so at the bottom of your triangle is what you call customer expectation. Now, in your case, it's customer expectation or collector expectation. So let me give you a hotel room example. A hotel room example was your expectation of a hotel room is what? You want it to be safe, you want it to be bug-free, you want a clean bed and a clean shower, maybe a bar of soap and a little shampoo. That's your expectation. Now, most of us would like more than that, but if we're driving down the road and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and we've got to find a place to stay, we'll stay in a Motel 6. We'll stay in something that is not necessarily as nice as we could get because it may be the only thing we can get today. So that's the basic expectation, so customer expectation. So how does that translate in the idea of art? So in the idea of art, the basic foundation is some simple things like, right, is it dry? Now that doesn't even apply in a plein air show, but is it dry? Is it quality? Is it based on, my expectations of what a piece of art should be? So for instance, most of the people in the United States, for instance, would look at, if you did your painting on a piece of paper, if you're not a watercolor artist or gouache artist, if you did an oil painting on a piece of paper, a lot of people would look at that and say, I don't think it's archival. Now there are ways, that painting I showed you yesterday from Dan Graves is done on a piece of paper, but he gessoed it multiple times and so on, made it really thick and sturdy and it would absorb the paint and it'll be archival. But some people might say, look, I don't want it if it's not meeting my basic standards. You have to figure out what is the basic standard of your collector. What is the absolute must, right? It must have a signature on it, or it must, whatever those musts are. The next thing is what we call better. Better than expectations. So a lot of people will try to do a little better than expectations. So let's go back to our hotel room example. You go to a hotel and you go, well, the reason I stay in this hotel is there's certain things I need. Let me give you an example. A buddy of mine was staying in a motel, the kind where you drive up and your car is right outside of the door. And he had the door propped open and he was packing his bags and moving out. Guy came up to him at gunpoint, took him in and held him at gunpoint, robbed him, and said he was going to kill him. Now he didn't, thankfully, but that guy said to me, never again in my life will I stay in a hotel where you can access it from the parking lot, right? So in his case, that's his basic expectation. But if you go to a hotel and you say, all right, the hotel that I like, I have some chains that I like, that I stay in. I don't stay in, like really fancy hotels, but I stay in, nice hotels. And because their beds are a little nicer, like if you go to certain hotels, they have a nicer bed. And then they might put a chocolate on your pillow, or they might do something a little bit better than normal. Maybe they have nice bottles of shampoo or nice soap, properly packaged instead of that stuff that you can't peel it. You're trying to take the wrapper off the soap and it's a little tiny bar of soap and it just says cheap, 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 right? So, and maybe, they've got a little nicer lobby and maybe the people are friendlier rather than, just, next, right? So in a collector environment, that might be, how can you take the basic needs and get a little better than that? So the expectation of better is a nicer frame, or maybe a frame at all, or maybe it's a personal note. I did a thing way back early on about how to make the back of your painting a tool for you. So it might be a personal note. It might be, I do a thing where I write, I've got a free gift for you if you contact me, and then they contact me and I send them a box of note cards with their painting on it, right? That's kind of in the central area of better than expected, right? So you might want to say, look, if you buy this painting, and galleries do this all the time, buy this painting and you decide you don't like it anymore, I will always, come back to me, I'll always pay you the price that you originally paid. Okay, and now the third thing is the unexpected. Unexpected. So the unexpected is you go to a hotel and you walk in and they say, Mr. Rhodes, we've been expecting you. That's unexpected. Mr. Rhodes, your bags are already in your room. Mr. Rhodes, you don't even have to check in. Here's your key. Now, when we do our fine art trips, we try very hard. Our partners are very good at this. And when we've been traveling all night, we've been on a bus or we've been going to a new city or something, we walk in and they say, here's your key. You can bring your driver's license or your passport down tomorrow sometime or this week sometime. Here's your key. Your bags are in your room. That's better than expected, right? And so you want to do what's better than expected. So in a hotel room, it might be, wow, this is a nicer room than I expected, or wow, they upgraded me, or wow, the room is bigger, or look at the beautiful woodwork in the room, or look, this is not just a small bottle of shampoo, it's a big bottle of shampoo, and there's shampoo, and there's, other things, and, maybe there's a little gift, so it might be, I go to a lot of hotels to find hotels for our conventions, and some of them will put a gift in the room. So like I'll go to the room that night and they'll have a fruit basket. And I went to a hotel and I opened it up, there was a big box and there was a jacket, beautiful jacket with their logo on it. Now there also is a time where customer expectation, even in this area, becomes this. In other words, if I were that guy that stayed in the Ritz-Carlton, and I know I'm going to get a great experience from the Ritz-Carlton. I know they're going to have a really, really fluffy bed. I know that the service is going to be really great, right? I know the paintings are going to be beautiful. I've often thought about doing a book of the paintings of the Ritz-Carlton because they're so beautiful. Anyway, at some point, this becomes the expected. Because if you're a business person or somebody who goes to the Ritz-Carlton all the time, you now know I'm going to get all that. Well, first off, you're choosing the Ritz-Carlton or the Four Seasons or whatever your preference is because you're getting that level of service. But then you might expect to the point where it's, you know, same old thing all the time. And then you accidentally go to a small boutique hotel on a trip and their experience is even better. You know, they've got a bathrobe in the room and it's got your initials engraved on it. I went to dinner one time with this guy. I can't even remember his name. He was a friend of my dad's. He was trying to help me out, and he lived in Denver, Colorado, and he was going to give me some advice. And so he took me to this fancy French restaurant in Denver. I don't remember the name, maybe Masson something. It was kind of like a castle. And I was not used to ever being in fancy restaurants. And like, I go in and everybody's decked out and the tablecloths are ironed and perfect and the room is beautiful and there's candles on the table and it's really smells good. It's a really wonderful experience. And there, as we sit down, there is, back in the days of matches, there are matchbooks with his name engraved on them at every place setting. And I was like, I'm so impressed by that. When he made the reservation, now he was a regular, but probably when you made the reservations, there was like, okay, how do you spell your name? And then, you know, it's Eric Rhodes with an A, right? And it's right there on that matchbook. I'm telling you, those kinds of little experiences make people want to come back. And so what could those experiences be if you're dealing with a collector? Now, if you're dealing with collectors or you're an art gallery, what are the expectations? Well, I like the idea of what we call a shock and awe package, right? Somebody signs up for something really big, really important, and all of a sudden they get a box of stuff in the mail. I mean, wouldn't it be cool? I've not done this with paintings, but wouldn't it be cool if somebody buys a painting from you and you have built all this into your pricing, and somebody buys a painting and they get a big box, and that box is filled with stuff. I was in my board meeting yesterday and I had a guy on my board who was showing me his shock and awe package that he uses. And you know, you open it up and he's got a card with a little, you open the card and it plays a little video, and he's got chocolates and candy and stuff like that in there. It doesn't need to be a lot of stuff, it just needs to be unexpected. You know, the way to upgrade that is to say, well, I'm not just going to send a little video card, I'm going to send him an iPad and say, press the play button. And, you know, I mean, if you really want to impress somebody. I did that as a project. I did that. I've done that now 3 times. Did it way back with little portable VCR players, and we did it for the Annenberg Foundation. And they had targeted like 20 people that they really needed to get to make a donation. And so with my friend Kay Levine, we created this package where we wanted them to watch this 10-minute video. Back then it was tough to do, so we found these little video players. They're about $400 or $500 each. We put the video in it. We made up graphics. It said, you know, please press the play button, watch this for 10 minutes, and you can keep the video player. Plus, if you watch it, there's a code in it, and that code, if you contact us with that code, we will send you a library of 50 or 100 DVDs. I mean, it was like, or not DVDs, but it was VCRs of movies, because they were willing to spend a few $1,000 because they knew they were going to get a donation of you know, $10 million. So it has to be relative. So the idea to dazzle collectors, maybe it's a gift, maybe it's to say, you know, some galleries will say, I'll come out and I'll place it for you. I'll do the hanging, I'll set up the lights, I'll get it right for you. And collectors really appreciate that. And then they just happen to say, by the way, I got 6 or 7 paintings in the car that would go nicely with your couch. And then, they bring them in and they say, let's see if that looks good there. Next thing you know, they're buying 30 paintings. And so what you want to do is really personalize things, look for ways to make the experience. Now, why would you do this? Well, first off, please know that all the money is not made in new business. Everybody concentrates on new business. I used to be that guy. I was like always about, we got to get more customers, bring more customers, sell more people. And that's true, you got to do that. But the real money is in the second purchase, in the third purchase, and the collector who says, I've got a house in Arizona, and I got a house in the mountains, and I got a house on the ocean, and I got a house in here and there, and I got to fill all those places with art, right? There's value in treating people very, very special, giving them very special experiences. See, all the money in art sales is in the repeat client. We make the mistake, we spend a lot of money to get a client, and then that client buys one painting, that's all we get. But if we can ask that client, help that client develop a relationship, they're going to buy more paintings. I had a friend that I talked about the other day. I developed a really good relationship with him. And he called me one day and he said, I've got $1 million budget, I want to buy a John Singer Sargent painting. So I said, okay, here's how you do it. And I just passed it off. I made an introduction. I didn't get anything in return. I didn't get a commission. I didn't want a commission. I just wanted to help this guy. And he got a really beautiful John Singer Sargent painting. And I knew where it was because I had seen it and made a mental note. And so that's the way things get done. And if you can look for ways to create raving collectors, you will nail it, right? So no matter who you're dealing with, no matter what level, a raving collector for you might be somebody who buys a $500 painting. A raving collector for some might be somebody who buys a $100,000 painting or $1 million painting. But the people who understand how to create raving collectors or raving fans in their businesses, I try, for instance, people come to my events and they go, oh, I didn't expect that. I'm not going to tell you what those things are. I didn't expect that. That was really great. You guys went above and beyond. Now, if somebody comes 8 or 10 times, it's an expectation. So now I got to figure out how to give them something new to make them have something better. So it's like this year in the Adirondacks, it's 10-year anniversary. So I've made arrangements for the most beautiful farm in, I think, the world, maybe not the world, maybe the US, that was the home of artist Rockwell Kent. It's unbelievably scenic. And so I've made arrangements this year only. We're going to spend the whole day at the farm painting, and so many beautiful, lovely spots to paint there. And that's above and beyond expectations. And I am having a discussion a dialogue with another owner of a great camp. Now, I don't have their permission yet. I haven't got that worked out. But there's another great camp that if we can get in there and we can paint there, it's going to be a lifetime experience. So I want to make sure that I top myself every time. I try to make the plein air convention a little better. I try to make the experience a little better. I want people, when they come for the first time, I want them to go, wow, this is so much better than I expected. That's the goal. And yeah, it costs money to do those things, but when you do those things, people tend to come back. People tend to repeat, and that's where the money is. Now, I don't do it just for the money. I do it because I want to give great experiences to people. I want people, if they come to my Adirondack event or my Fall Color Week event or my plein air convention, the figurative art convention, my Russia trip, any of those things, I want them to have an experience of a lifetime. That's my job. My dad taught me when I was a little bitty boy, I talked about this the other day, he said, if you're going to do something, do it the best. Be the best. Raise the bar, raise the expectations, be better than anybody else in your category. You're not better than them, but do things better than them, right? Give them experiences, give them things that are better. And it's like I talked about the other day with my magazine's Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air. Somebody told me they wanted to buy them, and the first thing they were going to do is cut the paper because they could save $250,000 a year. Yeah, I would love to have that money. But you know what? That magazine is the only art magazine in existence on the earth that has that level of quality paper. Those two magazines. And maybe that's why they're such big sellers, and maybe that's why there's so many billionaires who are subscribing to Fine Art Connoisseur, because it matches their expectation of what an art magazine should be. And if I were to cut the paper, I subscribe to some other art magazines, and one day this one came in, it's about 5 years ago, all of a sudden it was this thin, see-through, kind of murky looking paper, and the art just didn't resonate. It just didn't look good. And I made a commitment right then. I said, I am not, I mean, if it were about, you know, go out of business or not, I might make the change, but unless I'm forced into it, I am not going to go there. And that's the way we need to be, is we need to be always providing the unexpected. What can we do that's better? What can we do to take somebody, here's the basic expectation, you have to meet that. If you don't meet that, you're never going to make a sale. This is when you get into features and benefits, things that are a little bit better, things that are a little nicer, things that are better than the expectation. And then here is where you really make a lot of noise and make a lot of friends. Anyway, I hope that helps. Remember, today at 3 p.m. we have Lori Putnam, and you can find it at Streamline Art Video on YouTube or Facebook. That's bold brush strokes in confident color. And we have The Secrets of Painting Trees with Paul Krather at 9 p.m. Make sure you get on. The artists are on there, and they're making comments, and they're talking about their, you know, their colors and giving you advice and so on. It's a great opportunity to be part of a community. I'm here every day at 12 noon. Tomorrow I'm getting on an airplane. I'm hoping it's an empty airplane, and I'm going to have to go into quarantine for a couple of weeks to go up to our lake place. And but anyway, I will be here tomorrow, and then as soon as I'm done, I'm running to the airport. And so, and hopefully I'll have internet connection so I can talk to you on Sunday. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Remember, create raving collectors. Now, tell me this, was this helpful? Yes? No? I'm looking at feedback here, and remember, comments are a good place for you to, okay, good. All right, good. Thank you. Enjoy your trip, I will, thank you. We'll be doing our broadcast up there all summer. I love these daily talks. Good afternoon, thank you. Lots of thank yous. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad this has been helpful. I go through all the comments at night. I usually don't do it till night, and then we pick, Christina picks a winner. So my goal is to over-deliver for you. I've been here now 72 days in a row, no day off in 72 days. I don't intend to take a day off until you are out of quarantine. And not everybody in the States are out of quarantine, and quite frankly, you have people all over the world. Now, at some point, I'm going to have to stop this because creating this takes me a couple hours a day. But my goal here is to be this for you, is to create the unexpected, to over-deliver. So if you have things that you would like me to offer you, to talk about, things that may be discussions about art, about painting, about art marketing, about art business, about anything, I will try to help you. Now, I'm not an expert in a lot of things. I'm narrow and deep, right? I know a lot of things about a lot of stuff. Some people are not deep, but they're really wide. They know a lot of stuff about a lot of things, but they don't go too deep. I'm somewhere in the middle in some subjects, and I'm at the top in others and at the bottom on others. And so I will give you what you want in the comments. Always put, tell me what you want. I'd love to know, for instance, what is the ultimate video that you would like us to create? Who are the artists that you would like us to bring in? What could we do differently so that we are raising the bar and making it better for you? Streamline, to me, needs to be this. I tell my team members all the time, Streamline needs to be about excellence in the unexpected. And we're trying to do that with Lilidol, with Creative Catalyst, with Streamline Art Video, with Plein Air Magazine, all the newsletters, but we can always be better. And this is the thing, we have to always push ourselves and challenge ourselves because we all get to a certain level and then we get lazy and then we're not dazzling people anymore. You got to dazzle people all the time. So I want to dazzle you, and the only way I can dazzle you is to find out what you need, what's really important to you. Okay? So thank you so much. Yesterday, by the way, you know, I talked about being a technical Luddite. So yesterday, I thought I turned the YouTube camera off. I turned the other cameras on. And I'm in my board meeting, and I get a text from Bryant. Bryant is the producer who's been producing these videos for 8 or 10 hours every day. Bryant sends a message that says, urgent, your YouTube is still playing. And it was down here in the garage, and it was basically pointed at nothing, but I think my YouTube live played for about 2 hours yesterday. And then I got down here and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off. The only way I could do it is to stop, turn off my phone. I don't know, the button wasn't working. So I apologize to you YouTubers, and thank you. Please make comments, let us know what you're thinking, and I will see you tomorrow at 12 noon. Weekends are usually big days because the people who've gone back to work are available to watch on the weekends. Tomorrow is Saturday, so it's weekend. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon. I know you're going to sleep late, but you can watch the replay. Thank you for watching. And remember, get your head in the right place. Get yourself upbeat. Go right now. Just turn this off right now and go crank up some music and dance around like a crazy fool. I'll do it. No, I don't think I'll do it. But I might do it upstairs, but not with you watching, because my wife says, you dance like you're from Indiana. And I said, well, I am from Indiana. That's how we dance in Indiana. Could have been embarrassing. Yes, it could have been. Thank you, guys. And I'm really, really honored. I know a lot of you are watching. Last night, I looked, and there were, between the three platforms, there are like 3,000 people watching and people all over the world. I am so honored that you would give me your time. It just really breaks my heart. Thank you so much. It's really meaningful. Have a great day. Bye.